Hello and welcome to Yes or No. This is the most important part of the show for me. I don't know why. I'm here with Reba Tony and our good friend Egypt. We're going to ask you a series of questions, and you can answer them with yes or no. Pretty simple, right? Perfect. He's already on it. Our guests have been good lately. Okay.
I know.
Reba, start us off with some yes, no.
Okay. Right. Let's see. We've been hearing about your physique. Have you done P90X?
P90X, P90 no.
No.
Does that qualify as a no?
No, that's gotta be no.
Yeah, qualify as no. Now, do you have I'm hearing some rumors going around the studio, the camera, people are talking about it, there's some mumbling going on. Sure. Do you have an underwear ad out?
Not an underwear ad per se.
Yes or no. Yes or no. You can only answer yes or no.
That would be a no then.
Okay. No.
Okay.
Unofficially.
Unofficially.
Do you have an unofficial ad out?
No.
Okay.
He's lying. Would you believe that I'm a bodybuilder for the past 16 years? Be honest.
On what? Jello brand pudding pops?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
So mean, man. I get bagged on this show all the time.
You know, Chad.
No, yes or no? He's a
no.
Yes or no? Okay.
No.
No.
Do you take spin class?
No spin
class.
class.
I didn't say that. Okay. Are you into any kind of sports?
Absolutely.
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 Hockey?
No hockey.
Extreme sports?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have you ever been canoeing?
Yes.
That's not an extreme sport. Oh, kayaking might be,
yeah. Yes.
Both?
Yes.
I once canoed with in the Amazon basin.
This is about him, not you.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, that's pretty extreme.
This is about Egypt, okay?
Piranhas around?
We'll talk about Reba next show.
Okay.
Okay, let's snowboarding.
Yes.
Have you ever jumped out of an airplane that was not crashing?
Absolutely.
You're crazy, man. You're a wild man. He's a wild man, ladies and gentlemen.
So much to learn about Egypt.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to find out where he's been, why he's jumping out of planes, what's going on in his life. Coming up next.
His physique.
Rich and Marisa. Stay with us.
Un hombre entrando, arrepentido, logrando su independencia, va a entrar en su presencia como un nuevo creyente. Su vida cambia totalmente.
It's Larissa here with Rich and our guest of the day. It's Egypt McKee. He is an author, pastor, speaker, and host of a show called Life Unplugged. And apparently he loves jumping out of airplanes, and we're about to find out why. Let's welcome Egypt. Thanks for being on our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're a skydiver?
Man, there's the only thing you can do. Jump out of a plane, doors open, gotta go.
Oh my goodness. So tell us about it. What you've been before, or plenty of
How
times,
often?
or how often?
Well, you know, over the years, over the last 10 years, maybe 2,000 plus jumps.
No.
Or so.
Are you serious?
Absolutely. You know, so I went as almost a dare 10 years ago to go with a friend of mine, and when I landed, where do I sign up? That was all about me. Oh yeah.
You loved it.
Oh, loved it.
So
Incredible.
like, can you like teach other people? Are you like licensed, certified, whatever they call it?
I certainly am, and I do a lot of film coaching as well, so I love that. Because
so how often do you go? Every week, or I mean?
You know, it's been a little while now. I'm going to wait till next month. I'm going to get in my fill for the year, you know, and do some film projects. But you know, I try to go a couple times a month. You know, maybe 20 jumps a month or so. Stay current.
Any kind of scary stories up in the air?
Oh yeah, just actually had one scary story out at Lake Elsinore. Interesting enough, I was a cameraman, 4 guys going, and they're still in free fall. I'm under my canopy, about 2,500 feet, and they're still in free fall above the dirt bike track. And they opened late, very low, and when they opened, they were facing each other, and their parachutes tangled up. And I'm the only one with a camera hovering above, watching this whole thing, screaming on camera, break away, and they finally cut away just above the dirt bike track. And as soon as you see the parachute open, they landed within 1 second of that thing opening.
Did they get hurt at all?
No, but really shaken up.
Oh,
Let's just say somebody got their attention.
What's the story behind your name?
Well, interesting enough, my mom wanted a different name. So she trusted God. Lord, give me a name, so I'm going to close my eyes, open the Bible, and I'm going to point.
Come on.
Now, whatever I release my eyes, that's what it's going to be. So Moses led his people out of Egypt. I got Egypt instead of Moses. But
Come on.
I'm like, listen, it could be a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
It could be Judas, little Beelzebub, you know,
It could be
some crazy, you know,
Thank
come
God.
on.
Lucifer,
Absolutely,
you don't want that.
You know, just little baby Lucifer. That just doesn't ring well. You know, people don't want to be your friend, you know, so can't have that.
So what was it like growing up, and did you know one day you'd be doing all these things, speaking and pastoring?
I always say, listen, I grew up a poor little black child. I know it's very difficult to understand, but, people, I came to the place where God dealt with me on some personal issues, particularly my skin color, because it was so dark, and I used to be like, why am I so dark? I'm like, you black when black people say, man, you black, I'm like, wow, that's just kind of crazy. So I really had a complex about that. But God said, listen, I gave you a full body tattoo, just like you are. Now dig on that. And when I got comfortable in my skin, I saw the power of God moving in places where other people were struggling with similar things but refused to talk about it. So my passion has always been there, but it wasn't defined. It's just I knew I had a passion about something, just didn't know what.
Yeah.
So out of my pain, God put an incredible passion, and he used that to propel me to today.
Yeah. Well, and I know one thing that's really passionate, on your heart is about making right, choices.
Absolutely.
And I mean, is that because you made some wrong decisions in your life, growing up?
Believe it or yeah. You know what? I always say, listen, let's not kid ourselves. We were created with a purpose. Every single person has choices that they make, millions of them. Which, kind of jacket would you wear? Would you wear your watch today? Do you comb your hair? All these are mechanical choices. Those are a part of getting through your normal day. But then I have a lot of young adults, particularly high school and college age students, who come and say things like this. Here's a classic example. I'm going to save myself. I'm not going to have sex until I get married. And I'm not going to have sex because I don't want to get a disease. And I think about that for a second. I say, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. If that's your motivation for saving yourself, you're saving yourself for the wrong reason. You see, you're making the right choice with the wrong motivation. So when the right scenario comes by, how much do you think you'll be able to stand? Yeah. You're not going to be able to. You're going to take a body blow of life, some depression, a loss of a loved one. Maybe someone rejects you and says no, and that's the one thing that tips you over the edge, and you view that thing now as not valuable anymore. I'm about establishing boundaries, right? So I make a poor decision. I may learn from some of the consequences, but there are some things you cannot learn from consequences. You jump out of a plane without a parachute, you die. You jump out of a plane from a parachute with a canopy that opens, but it has a tear in it. There's a problem there. Would you do that?
No.
No one would do that. So as quickly as you answered that question, you can use that as the basis then for establishing spiritual truths.
What are some of the challenges in presenting, this idea? Because, I mean, we're sitting here going like, yeah, we wouldn't jump out of a plane with a tear, but, to them, that's truth. It's like, well, I just wouldn't make that decision because of my own reasoning. How do you kind of convince somebody that, all right, here's what is real and what's not?
Well, here's what's a classic example. With our faith, anytime you have a faith, one of the first things you struggle with is courage. I'm always praying for wisdom and the courage to carry it out. What good is wisdom if you don't carry it out?
Yeah.
Like, God gives you what you ask for, right?
Yeah.
And we sit around with it. Whoa, this pot of gold, what do I do with it? What's good's the bank? Well, when you want to minister your faith in a relevant way to someone else, it starts with, hi, my name is. How about we start there?
Yeah.
Okay? So then I have what I call shock statements as well. I say to a person who is struggling with homosexuality or lesbianism, rather than look at them for the behavior, let's set that aside. And we have to have the courage and the wherewithal within ourselves to set that aside and deal with the person, not the sin, for a second.
Yeah.
And say, what's the greatest thing about your struggle? Tell me, because I really want to know. And I'm not kidding you right now. I want to know. No one's ever answered that question for me. They say things like, well, I have friends, and oh, that's not the greatest thing. Come on, who are you kidding? If you ask me what's the greatest thing about knowing Christ, you got a couple weeks, because I'm going to take up all your time.
Yeah.
I can tell you about very specific things that benefit me and make my life whole as a result of that. And then shock statements like I'll start out by, if you've got a tattoo, you're going to die and go to hell. And they're like, boo, they go crazy. And I go, now how did that make you feel? When someone says that, or they think it and they're looking through you, you're no longer a person, you've been productized as a box. How does that make you feel? And then that helps me build a case around spiritual truth in that specific comment. I'm talking about going into those dark places we don't talk about.
Yeah.
Why can we go into a church and lust is as prevalent there as it is in a bar? Because of the way maybe we dress or the mindset that we walk in with, and we're worshiping and like, wow, I shouldn't be able to see your underwear through your clothes like that. Why are your clothes so form-fitting like that? And I'm the pastor, there's a problem. So there's always something to talk about.
And those are choices that
Absolutely,
people make.
Absolute choices. So training your eyes, your mind, your heart to be practicing those things. I love what Paul said. He says, Liz, finally, whatever's true, whatever's noble, whatever's lovely. Noble? Who uses the word noble in our language anymore? How many young people have you ever, hey man, that would be noble. No one uses that. To be an ambassador of, to do of good character, to practice it. Paul said, put it into practice. Allen Iverson said, practice. We talking about practice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about practice. When you practice good, what's the upside of that? more good, more peace, more joy. But you don't get the upside. What's the upside to stupidity? Misery, pain, dejection, isolation, depression, suicidal tendencies. That's an upside? Yeah, that's the upside of that. Wow, I don't want that. Let the person make that choice. If given a choice, here's $1 billion in cash, or here's a belt to get a spanking. Which one do you want? Let me think. I'll take the spanking. You know, that's what we do. We're choosing, we're making wrong choices based on lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, and lack of convictions.
What's the beginning of making good choices? Where do you start at?
The first thing, I say start by looking in the mirror. What kind of person am I?
Yeah.
Every choice I make defines the kind of person I am, right? So I understand cause and effect. But the real core is the fuel that propels the engine to make that decision. It's the mechanics that helps me make consistent decisions, and that's a connected relationship with Christ.
Yeah.
This is my vehicle for presenting Christ. It's not a 3-point sermon. It's not a come to my church and you'll be better. It's not sit down and here's a sandwich and if you listen to me, then you come to Christ, then I'll somehow make you better or make you a worse version of yourself. No, it's let me be relevant to you right where you are. First by listening, then by speaking, then by receiving and doing. Man, if we could just get back to the basics of the gospel.
Yeah.
The basics, man. And that's it. That's all I'm talking about. There's nothing new here. It's not sacrilegious. It's just applying what we already know. It's what we've already been taught. Now take your conviction and live it out loud.
Yeah.
That's all.
Why do you think so many people have such a hard time making good decisions?
It's real easy, you know, and one of the things is, and we talk about peer pressure, it's really not peer pressure, it's really smear pressure. You know, I say,
Smear pressure?
yeah, really. I mean, think about the saturation of junk. You can't even go to LAX without billboards. I mean, have you ever been on Century Boulevard? You see the half-naked commercial here, and then come to the strip this and the bar here, and, and it's just pop, 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 pop. It's just constant smearing.
Yeah.
So you feel like, well, I'm swimming in a mud puddle, so how do I get clean? Well, get out of the mud puddle, right? But can you get out on your own? No, I need some people to help me. So when I connect myself with other believers who actually, they're broken too, but they're going to help keep me on the straight and narrow. That's a choice, right? And there's a choice that I'm not going to see an immediate result there. So I got to stay with it. I got to continue to grow and develop. And that takes time. It's dirty work. Who wants to roll up their sleeves and hear all your problems?
Yeah.
Man, who hasn't got the caller ID? And Lord knows I don't want to pick it up because that's a 3-hour conversation. Sometimes that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Some other things that because I mean that sounds like fairly easy, but you know there's other reasons why people like make bad choices.
Well, some of it just by the product of where you grew up. So it's very easy to point blame. I say within the realm of making a choice, there's 2 schools of thought. There's the side of accountability. I'm going to take responsibility for who I am, regardless of my surroundings. Okay, I don't care what I see. I don't care what's done. I don't care how many gunshots I've heard and how many people, my friends, have died from drugs and all these things. I'm going to choose to stand. Then there's the other school of thought that says, you know what, it's because of something else. I'm just going to point blame because it's easy for me. So once you go down that path, there is no upside. You understand that every choice you make from that point on will be based on that moral standard. Well, that's a flawed moral standard. The other moral standard is one rooted in truth, and the truth has an author. So when I look back at Christ, he's the one that empowers me to understand that he gives me the power to say no to temptation, right?
Yeah.
Can I do it by white-knuckling it? For a little while.
Yeah.
But it's not in Christ. But will he give me the power to literally walk away? Absolutely. Each and every time. If you ask him, he'll give it. If he gives it, will you receive it? If you receive it, will you do it?
Wow.
And when you do it, will you practice it? And it becomes a habit. So you do what you are habitually connected to, right? Yeah. That's where we receive our power and grow it and develop it and sharpen it.
Yeah. Don't you ever come across people who just kind of give up? Like they think, you know, I can never make a good choice.
Sure. And it's very easy because you know what? They've been sold a bill of goods. And it's very easy. I've been called a moron before. I know how that feels. I've been called an idiot by my coach, by my parent. I get that, right? There's demoralization in that. And again, that's a person who's not very well connected with truth, A, from absolute truth, but 2, from other believers who say, you know, sometimes we just need a person that just comes in and say, hey, it's going to be all right. I believe in you. Do you know how the power of those words, I believe in you? I believe in you to even make another mistake, but I'm still going to be here for you.
That's good.
And that is what we don't have enough of. So every one of us who are called by Christ are really called to do that and be that in someone else's life.
I think it's tough when you get the layers upon layers of playing the blame game for so long.
Absolutely.
That as you shed off layers, you keep finding yourself still pointing you know what I mean?
You better believe it.
And some of us, I think there's a lot of layers on even some of us, right? You know, we kind of, the reason why I did that was because that person did this or she said that. And so that's always, I like how you said that, the accountability and taking responsibility.